Hello and welcome to an Odyssey raid guide. This raid guide will cover the final boss in Batcave in a Sanctum, Brother Eye. Many raids struggle in this fight due to the randomness of the mechanics and the unforgiving nature of these mechanics. Here we use a slightly different setup to normal. We use 4 DPS, 2 controllers and 2 healers. The reason for not using a tank is because there are many aspects of this fight which really do not require a tank. It may be justified in phase 1 to keep aggro for the controllers and healers, but we believe the increased DPS far outweighs the benefits of a tank. You will notice that the room has a lot of space in it, which allows the raid to manoeuvre easily. A raid that uses this space will be much more successful than a raid that stands on one point. This is because there are many AoE mechanics in the room that need to be avoided, and a lot of movement of adds. You'll also notice there are 5 consoles around the room. These relate to phase 1 of the fight. The fight is split into 2 phases. The objective of phase 1 is to bring down all 5 consoles. Most raids that can bring down all 5 consoles and get 6 people into phase 2 will successfully complete the fight. Upon bringing down 5 consoles, phase 2 will be activated. The purpose of Batman in this fight is to bring down the shields protecting the consoles. Batman will randomly target a console to bring its shield down. He will then take his time to bring that shield down, and as soon as the shield is down there will be a set time for the raid to defeat that console. If enough damage is not put on the console in this time, then the shield will come back up and you will have to repeat this console later in the fight. Failing on a console does increase the difficulty of this fight significantly, so it is essential that you get every console first time. Upon starting the fight, Batman will target his first console. The first phase is very easy. There is minimal adds and minimal mechanics to remember. This difficulty will increase as the fight goes on. Use this time to keep the number of adds down, targeting eye drones, as eye drones will drain your healer and controller's power. You'll notice there are red, green and blue circles around the room. Stay out of these as these will damage and control your raid. As mentioned, the first phase is very easy. As soon as the first console is up, Brother Eye will begin to absorb adds, which will happen throughout the fight. When Brother Eye does absorb adds, it clears all of the enemies within the room. It's worth noting now that you should stay away from the computer that Batman is bringing the shield down for. This is because the mechanics are targeted to players, so if the entire raid is near that console, then mechanics will be put onto that console and bringing it down will be very hard. You can now see that OMAC primes are spawning, and these will spawn at an increasing rate. It is essential that you focus OMAC primes first and have them as a kill priority. The second kill priority is Elite Neuromax. The OMAC prime will do significant raid damage and can wipe a raid easily. The Elite Neuromax will do an AoE crowd control, which you cannot get out of until the Elite Neuromax is dead. Again, you really must keep on top of the OMAC primes. If they overrun you, you will more than likely wipe. You can now see yellow bubbles around the room. This is known as a gravity phase. Brother Eye will execute different phases during phase 1. The gravity phase, all you have to do is simply stay away from the yellow bubbles, as they will suck you in and do significant damage. If you see executing laser sequence, this is the hardest mechanic to defeat. All the group should group up on the north side of the room. This is because lasers, which do heavy damage, will be moving all across the room. If you all group up north side, your healers can keep you all alive and you can burn down adds as they come near you. However, remember that you have got to get to the console that Batman is at, which may be on the south side of the room. If you can allocate 2 DPS to move to this console carefully without getting hit by the lasers, this is the best thing to do here. However, be aware, adds will still spawn and Elite Neuromax will CC these 2 people if they are near it. If you get a laser phase and a console at the south side of the room, you've been very unlucky, but as shown here, it is not impossible. Still be aware, even when you have laser sequences, gravity sequences and pulsar sequences, you may still see red, green and blue circles. It varies during the fight. I will now explain the pulsar sequence. The pulsar sequence, as you can see, is signified by the red domes. All that happens here is red domes spawn on the ground and grow. If you're near these red domes, you will take damage, and when they explode, you will take even more damage. In between the consoles, again, just keep clearing the adds as best you can. They will continue spawning at a higher and higher rate, and you will feel relieved when Brother Eye finally absorbs these adds. If they get on top of you, that's what causes raid wipes. As you can see, Batman has now moved to his third console, which is at the right of the room, and the raid then brings it down. The first phase of the fight can be summarised by this. When the shield for consoles is being brought down, the raid should be doing maximum DPS around the room to adds. This is to stop the adds wiping the raid. As soon as the console is available to be damaged, the entire raid should move to it and get it down as soon as possible. As you can see here, OMAC primes do start to begin to overrun the raid early in the fight, so getting these down is essential. Abilities from ice tanks such as Reflect do a lot of damage back onto the OMAC primes, and these should be used. You must remember throughout the fight to kill the eye drones, as these will take a lot of your power. Again, remember at all times that wherever Batman is taking the shield down, try to stay away from until the shield is down. You saw there that was the fifth console coming down. When the fifth console comes down, you shouldn't burn it like you burned all the other phases. This is because you want to wait for there to be a power reset. We find a general rule of thumb is to wait for the timer on the console to be on 50% and then bring it down, or wait for Brother Eye to absorb the adds and bring it down as fast as you can. This way you should have minimal adds in the final phase. A lot of people do suffer with this and don't understand this mechanic, so this will help you out a lot. Upon bringing down the fifth console, as you can see, Brother Eye is now here. As soon as you're on the Brother Eye phase, all you need to do is be patient and DPS him down slowly. The main thing Brother Eye will do is spin at the raid. This spin does significant damage. If people get caught in it, it is likely they'll die. Reflections and any form of absorption will help out a lot. The second ability Brother Eye will use is the death beam that has been seen early in the fight and will be used again. This is a great time to get DPS in. Brother Eye will stop, the red mark will appear above his head, he will turn and he will fire a death beam in that direction. If someone is hit by this death beam, they will die. However, be aware that there is a lot of time to move out of the way of it. The final mechanic of Brother Eye is his teleport. He will sometimes turn horizontal, elevate slightly in the air and then teleport. If you're under him, he will do severe damage. He'll then teleport to a random location in the room. He will then immediately spin. Again, this phase is all about keeping maximum range on Brother Eye and DPSing him down gradually. Many people die in this fight simply from trying to do too much DPS and allowing Brother Eye to get too close to them. Do not think that you can move when he starts spinning. You should be able to predict from judging the patterns in the fight when Brother Eye is going to spin at you. You should be moving away from him before then. With enough DPS he should come down very quickly. If your DPS is not very strong or has died in the first phase, the final risk is Batman dying. If Batman does die in this phase, then the raid is failed and you will have to restart the entire fight. Heals from nature healers such as cross-pollination will heal Batman, and so these should be used if your DPS is low. Sorcerer's Healing Circle is also rumoured to heal Batman, so this is worth using and trying. It may not be reliable, but it can heal him. With enough DPS, this shouldn't be necessary. While Batman claims to solo Brother Eye here, we will give some tips that will help generally during the fight. In Phase 1, the consoles are physical objects, so powers that do high damage to physical objects are very good here. Abilities such as Psychic Blades can bring down the console with 2 casts of it, if the player is close to it. This can be used to your advantage, as you don't need to worry about sending DPS, especially if you have the raid grouped upon the north side of the room because the laser phase has been executed. You can then just simply send one controller or one mental character to the console on the south side or the other area of the room and use 2 rotations of Psychic Blades to bring it down. If 2 rotations isn't enough, you can send them with a backup DPS. It's also essential to have somebody announcing which consoles are up. This is best done by voice chat. Keep your raid channels clear and just allow them to be used to first of all name where the location of the consoles is and then name which ad you should be DPSing. As mentioned earlier, you should DPS OMAC primes first and then the elite Neuromax. I will also summarise the 3 main mechanics in Phase 1. These are Pulsar Sequence, Gravity Sequence and Laser Sequence. If it is a laser sequence, the raid should gather up north side of the room. If it is a gravity sequence, you should spread out and stay away from the yellow bubbles. If it is a pulsar sequence, spread out and stay away from the red domes. If you follow these tactics, you should find Brother Eye comes down much more easily. This has been an Odyssey raid guide. My name's Thermal. Thank you for watching and good luck with your raid.